Morning.
Good morning. This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. And we have with us at WZRD Jessica Bernardi. She's in charge of the Dead on Damon Halloween display on DAMEN Avenue in Rogers Park. How are you today, Jessica?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for having me.
First of all, Jessica, what has happened and how many years? First of all, describe to our listeners what is the Dead on Damon display and how many years have you been working on this and displaying your creations to the neighborhood?
Dead on Damon is a Halloween yard haunt that I have been basically putting together since I moved over here on the 7500 block of Damon Avenue about 13 years ago. It has grown in size immensely and has become a staple of Rogers Park. Um, we pick a charity every year. People can come by and donate to the charity. Last Halloween, we raised almost $1,500 for our charity. And then on Halloween 3 years ago was our first year being at the haunt on Halloween, because normally we would take our kids out trick or treating. So, and it was COVID, and we decided, let's do a party, let's have everybody come and let's have everybody get a closer look and let's give back. So we had hot cider, we spiked for adults, we had chili and hot dogs and chips and juice drinks and candy, and it was all free of charge. That first year we had, I don't know, maybe 100, 200 people that came, and this was 3 years ago. Last year we had about 600 people that came.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And and so you had like a little donation bucket, and people could donate if they wanted to, and then you got $1,500 last year.
Yes, yes. It went to Chicagoland Dog Rescue. It's a nonprofit rescue that I had been fostering through for a couple of years,
Mhm.
and have fostered a few dogs for them. So we picked them as our charity last year.
And lately, you've been having problems, and then is it the condo association? Who is it that wants to stop the display from happening this year?
Yes, there are two of our board members that have denied the display this year, which is odd because one of them, being the president of the association, just in May he's a graphic designer by trade, and he was going to design us a logo that we intended to have sweatshirts made to sell with the proceeds going to our charity. And a month later, he decided to deny it.
Hmm. How many people on the board? Are you on the board?
I am on the board. There are three of us on the board.
Mm. And and how long has everybody been on the board?
The president has been on the board for just a little over a year. He started on the board, I believe, last September. So he was on the board for Dead on Damon last year. He sat outside with me a couple nights a week. And then the newest member just joined a few months ago, and he actually just moved into the association probably about 6 months ago. And I have yet to personally meet him.
Hmm. How often do you have board meetings then?
Every 3 to 4 months. Every 3 to 4 months.
So at when was the last meeting? He wasn't there at the last meeting?
Yes, we just had a meeting, what was it, last week, and
Mhm.
I did not attend. He had put Dead on Damon onto onto the list of things to discuss. And from my knowledge, my husband was there for me, and to my knowledge, the reasoning boiled down to is that he didn't want people here. He's not concerned about outside of our fences, um, which to me doesn't really make us any safer. Um, the community, and this is one of the reasons why I do this.
Mhm. And what was the issue about the outside of the fence versus the inside of the fence?
Well, I mean, as you know, as he states it, our obligation is to the community inside the condo association, not anybody outside of our condo association.
Okay. And did he say that he had been getting complaints from a lot of residents? Is that did he say anything about that?
No, no, I there was, I believe, one person
Mhm. Okay.
that did not like it out of the 50 units that we have here.
Mhm.
I think I would, I mean, I think I would have general support from most of the residents inside the association.
Mhm. And all 50 unit owners are on the association?
Yes, yes, they're all part of the association.
Okay. And then that one person that does not approve of it, is there any reason? And how long has that person been an owner in this unit in this building?
She has been an owner, I think, since they developed them into condos 20 years ago.
Mhm.
She was also our condo board president um, as of last year.
And while she was president, how long are the terms? Yearly, or and how many years did she serve?
She served for how many years did she serve for? Probably 4 years, I believe she served for.
Mhm.
And we have elections, I think every other year. Um, if nobody runs, then we don't really, if nobody opposes any of the board members, it normally goes unchallenged and just stays. A lot of people aren't very, I've noticed a lot of people aren't very active. We don't have a lot of people that come to our meetings. Out of 50 units, there's maybe 10 people that come to our board meetings.
Mhm.
So, but there is board elections that are scheduled for the next meeting. So,
And what has been the board president's the previous board president's position on on Damon for the during the 4 years that she served?
she seemed okay with it. I know the first year we did the party, she had told us, she's like, where are our decorations down on this side of the building?
Mhm.
I'm like, does that mean we can keep making it bigger? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, cool. Um, and obviously that somehow changed, I guess, in the past year.
So, do you have any idea about why there was this sudden change from support and till just the cold shoulder?
I do not. I'm not quite sure what happened. Um, I mean, we've heard several things, one about liabilities. So we're like, okay, well, we could have everybody sign a waiver. There was something else. And I'm like, okay, well, we can do this, and we have tried. Huh?
The power.
Oh, yeah. He had also spoken about how we hooked our LED lights up and plugged them into the communal basement. And it's like, well, we've offered to give them money, we can give money to pay for, the electricity that we use for the lights. It's, and everything just seemed to be, well, that's not the issue anymore. That's not the issue anymore. So I'm not quite sure as to what the issues are anymore.
What were the various issues that were raised? And also for the electricity, usually LED lights do not consume very much electricity.
Yes.
How much was the bill?
It's funny because I looked it up a little bit, and I think we use 25-watt LEDs, and I think per hour it's 0.0005 cents uh, per hour per
Hmm.
bulb, and we have like 20 of them. So it's
Hmm.
$1 a day.
Hmm. Okay.
Because most of our animatronics are run by batteries, actually.
Hmm.
Um, he had brought up security. Um, and when Dead on Damon was vandalized a few years ago, the community got together and they did a GoFundMe, and we were able to get security cameras installed,
Hmm.
which he has made us since take down. So he spoke about how there were security issues, yet it was one of the only things bringing security to the building on a daily basis were these cameras.
Hmm.
So, um, so those were a couple of the issues. Like I said, liability, we can easily solve that. The electricity, the money, we can solve that too. And it just seemed like everything that he had said was an issue that we offered to resolve, it just didn't seem to matter.
Yeah, so it was the electricity, the liability. Was it the liability for the people that were coming in on Halloween? Like those the 200 people, 300 people, and then the 600 people at the Halloween party.
I think it was liability on probably both ends, liability for the building. They don't want, to have any kind of issues. And I completely understand. I completely understand that. Not that we've had any problems. We've had nothing but positive, experiences
Mhm.
with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, we
So
walked by it and we really enjoyed the display. It was
thank
like
you.
yeah, every section was like it kind of floated and it had its own personality. It was really very you could spend a long time just taking it in.
You
Um,
could.
when uh, when the cameras went up, how long were the cameras up before they were asked to be taken down? And what's the were the cameras put up after the vandalism?
Yes, the cameras were put up after the vandalism. A company had saw us and offered to give us a really good deal on these cameras on the system.
Mhm.
They had to have electrical people come because they were all hardwired into the basement.
Mhm.
So they were just taken down in May. They were
Mhm.
just taken down, or in yeah, in this past, so just a couple months ago.
Okay, and then who was paying for the cameras?
The cameras were paid for by the community, by the GoFundMe.
Oh, okay. So
Mhm.
the association owners did not have to pay, and you have not run out of money in paying for those cameras, did you, when they were taken down?
No, no.
Mhm.
So
Okay. A- And then also, the footage from the cameras, was it showing anything? Was there maybe something that was there some privacy issues of some people that didn't want to be photographed? What any insight on that?
no, nothing about that.
Mhm.
Nothing about having any of those issues.
Were there any threats against the display? Because that time that it was vandalized, only the display was vandalized. No parts of the building or of uh, there wasn't any fence at that time, right? No fence?
There is, yes. There's always been the 6 foot wrought iron fence that's surrounding the property.
Okay.
So they had either gotten in through an unlocked gate or somehow gotten over it. But no damage was done to anybody's property, the building property, just the display,
Mhm.
just the Halloween display, and it happened the once. And yeah, I mean, everything, all the gates are locked, they're all functioning properly. Nobody can get in unless, let in by somebody. So
Mhm. And were there any complaints about some people that were lingering that the maybe the residents felt were threatening? Anything like that? Were there any loitering that people didn't think was part of that entertainment, but they were taking advantage of the display to loiter. Anything like that?
not that was brought up to me during the month of October. most evenings I would actually be outside
Mhm.
from, about 5 to 9, well within the rules and regulation quiet hours.
Mhm.
And I would be out there to let people in if they wanted to take a closer look, to donate, to talk, to chat, to get to know them, to get to know my community. So nobody was ever left alone to
Mhm.
wander or go anywhere else. There was always somebody out there with them.
And I'm sure that visitors appreciated that too,
They
to
did.
talk with you and then discuss the display. What about parking? Was there any complaints about the parking or the traffic of the cars going down Damon?
Not that I ever heard. If anything, it would slow down traffic, which is always better when you have a neighborhood with children and
Mhm.
pets and families. It's always good, so if anything, it slowed down traffic. On For the actual Halloween party, Maria Hadden would give us some no parking signs, and Popeyes on the corner actually opened up their parking lot to visitors to come and park.
So the only two issues that they brought up was the liability and what was um the
he, he,
liability
he had,
and the yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry, yeah, he had brought up security, he had brought up liability, um the monetary, electric, any
Uh-huh.
damage done.
Mhm. And all of them were resolved. And what happened? Did you resolve one issue and then the board president came up with a new issue, or were all the issues uh packaged in the beginning?
Well, I
And
mean, from my understanding at the meeting, when Dead on Damon was brought up, you know, we would go over his issues and he would say liability, and we would be like, okay, well, we can solve this. He would then say, okay, well, that's not the issue, it's this. And then he would go on to be like, well, that's not the issue, as we went through step to step. And my understanding is it basically came down to he doesn't want the attention brought here to our building. He doesn't want all of the people here. He doesn't want the community here.
mm, what about the residents who attended the meeting? What did they get a chance to speak at the meeting?
Did they?
Some did, and some said they liked it, and one said they didn't.
Yeah, a lot of them were there and they did speak and they said that they enjoyed it. One person did not. Only one person at the meeting said they did not enjoy it. So it's a
Um,
matter of finding out what our options are. I don't think we will be able to do Dead on Damon this year,
mhm,
unless we find an alternate location.
mhm. When he mentioned the attention to the building, did he have a reason why the attention was there there was more attention over the years and it's increasing to an extent that he's not happy with? What was the difference between now and the previous years?
Besides it becoming larger, more well known, we've gotten, sponsorship from Senator Mike Simmons. He's one of our sponsors of the party on Halloween. So it has gotten bigger, but again, there weren't any detrimental things happening because it had gotten bigger.
Mhm.
So I'm not quite sure as to his understanding. I don't understand what happened.
And did you ever suggest to make it small, a little smaller again, to appease him? That would that work?
Probably not. um, it would be harder to, I mean, I can't control how many people would come, especially for the party, as far as the display. Could it be made any smaller? Probably not, but could I keep it from getting any bigger? Yes.
Mhm. And
maybe.
what what about the storage? Were there any complaints about the storage of the materials in the non-Halloween months?
Yes, there were, and we have addressed all of those issues, and we have borrowed storage from all of my neighbors
Mhm.
and have gotten everything put away and everything out of the way. Yes.
How long would it take you to erect the display if you were to do it somewhere else and maybe just for the sake of the party and maybe 1 or 2 days of for visitors?
It takes probably about 70 hours to set up
Mhm.
at this point.
And have you looked for other locations? Have you spoken with other buildings and other people who might welcome having your display at their building?
I have not yet. I do walk my dogs often throughout the neighborhood, so I've been kind of keeping my eyes out. Just the other day, I was walking past Jordan School over here, and I'm like, "Oh, their front would be very nice." So
Mhm.
I've been keeping my eyes out.
Well, that would kind of work it as long as they agree to it because the kids are there already, and then it would be very easy for them to visit the
It would
display.
be. It would be. It would be, and it's all size. There's enough room, and it would be safe. So I don't know. We're still trying to see if it could be done off site somewhere, at least for a little while, for a couple of days.
Mhm. So has all the work been done by just the two of you, or has the work been have you had volunteers that like maybe some youth or just for the experience of helping you put it together and honing their artistic skills?
It is me, my husband, my kids help out a lot.
Mhm.
I do have neighbors that come and help. I was trying this summer to do what we call a make and take with some of our regular younger fans, where we get together and we would make a prop. We would make like a tombstone because I do make a lot of the stuff that's in the display.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I broke my wrist and we weren't able to do that.
Mhm.
Um, but yes, it would that was one of our plans
Mhm.
to get
Uh,
some kids together and help out. On Halloween, we have about a dozen volunteers that are here for the party, helping hand stuff out, controlling the crowd, emptying the trash, making sure, everyone is safe and having a good time.
mhm. What about the party and the trash? Were there any complaints about that?
No, we were really good about that. We emptied the trash throughout the night. There wasn't really much on the ground. What was, we cleaned it up.
Mhm. And when it's some people have decorations in their yard as well, like for Halloween or for the holidays. Have you spoken with any of those people, and do they ever have any problems with let's say the condo association or with their neighbors if they're a residents? Any insight on that?
I have not had any on that.
Mhm.
Most of the people that I know that put on larger displays are homeowners. They own their,
Mhm.
they have to just go within what the city says, so they don't have the extra, you know, rules and regulations as we do in a condo.
Mhm. And you have no idea at all about what uh, he said. The board president said that he didn't want the attention being brought to the building. Evidently, in the beginning, he was okay with that. He was seemed to be happy with it. That it was like your display was being shared with the neighborhood, and the neighborhood was enjoying it. Any, any idea at all how what was the change?
I wish I knew. if I knew I could try and fix it. I could do something. Um, I just don't know. Like I said, one week he was ready to make a logo, and and during the whole haunt season, he sat outside with me and hung out and
Mhm.
talked with people, and then the next he just changed his mind.
Mhm. So it was the logo that he was the one that suggested making the logo for you, right?
Well, I had asked him because I knew he does graphic design, and he had
Uh-huh.
actually made a couple of things um for Dead on Damon for the party, for like our donation sign and everything for the party last year. He had made a couple of things for us.
Mhm.
And so I asked him if he wanted to try and make this logo, and he's like, yeah.
Mhm.
And then the next, he said we couldn't have it.
Mhm. And he never asked for payment. Did he ever imply that he
No,
wanted some payment? Mhm.
no,
Mhm.
no.
You had an email campaign, and how was the response to that? And how did you use those emails?
I have not used them yet. I'm still trying to get more. I'm working with the Alderwoman and Senator Mike Simmons to put in some newsletters. We are still asking for the community to share their stories, share their support, to send to our email and reach out to us, especially if they might have a place to set up. We encourage everybody's input. I would like to go door to door to my neighbors here in the association to see who's for it, who's not, what their concerns are, how I can help address them, and also show them these are your neighbors, and this is what they and this is what it means to them.
And do you know if there are some neighbors who emailed you?
Oh yes, there's lots. There's lots.
And can you tell us about how many emails you have received already?
I've probably gotten about 75.
Mhm.
I've gotten some great ones from some of our kids where after coming here, they had done a school project on it. And it was just really heartwarming and really sad, that so many people really enjoy this. And there's absolutely nothing I can do at the moment. It's just
Mhm.
disheartening.
Did you have a chance to consult with a lawyer to see what your options are? I know that you don't want to sue or anything, but just what are your options in your situation to that are available to you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've been trying to just I'm very obviously still emotional about it because this means a lot to me and I know it means a lot to other people. So I've been trying to just take a step back, compose myself, get some positive feedback from my community before I try and start fighting back. And see, if I do have any legal options, if I can, you know, if an individual vote by owners, if that's something I can do, if it's something that would even change it.
So if you were to bring it up to a vote, how does that work in your association?
I'm not quite sure. We've never really had an individual vote on anything in
Mhm.
the 13 years I've been here.
Okay. And have you looked at your bylaws?
Not recently, but it is on my list to go through them to reach out. So a couple of people have reached out to me that seem to know a lot about condo law and all of that to maybe go through with me and help me, help explain this to me and give me some more options.
Well, if you do read through the bylaws, maybe you could see if in what circumstances an association member is allowed to put something up for a vote, and how what would it take for the vote to be brought to the association members?
Right.
Uh, and then if what would it take for that vote to be binding? And what are the duties of the board president? And what uh, what decisions is he allowed to make? Is he allowed to make a decision despite everybody's vote, or does he have to abide by the majority, or what constitutes a majority, and what constitutes a quorum for a meeting? Do you know what constitutes a quorum for a board meeting?
Well, currently I do not. Like I said, they just had a board meeting where Dead on Damon was on the agenda. So trying to get something else in the next couple of months may not be feasible. I can be stonewalled, I'm sure, for a long time.
And maybe the bylaws would state uh, what kind of circumstance would warrant calling for a special meeting, because
Yes.
A condo board association is pretty much like it's a, a an entity in itself to govern the condominium. It's like a mini government, and you have to be familiar with uh, the laws of that government to see what are the options available to you.
Yes. Yes. That is on the list.
Mhm. Okay. Well, what are your next steps now? Is going through the bylaws is one of them. What else are you
Yes.
planning to do?
Going through the bylaws, going to keep trying to get support. I would like to speak with my neighbors, more of my neighbors here, try and get a general consensus. How many are for it? How many are against it? Um, and seeing what we can do. In the meantime, is there, if that's not going to be feasible for this year, is there an offsite location we might be able to have it just for a couple of days for Halloween, for the party, to bring it for the kids, the community, for the charities?
And when you what inspired you to do the Damon at the beginning?
My kids were young, and I've always enjoyed Halloween, and I always enjoy scaring my kids. I mean, even now, the oldest one is 20, and I still, like to kind of go up behind him and, scream and make him jump. So that's just always been, Halloween has just been one of my favorites. You get to dress up, you get to run around, you get all the candy in the world. And I wanted to share it with my kids, let them grow up and reach out to their community actually, and be a part of something that gives back.
And when does your family enjoy horror movies then?
Not so much, not so much. We get our horror in building the display mainly. My kids are now old enough that they are starting to like horror movies. I just watched The Shining with my oldest son, so that was the kind of nice rite of passage for him.
And when you started, let's say let's just go back to the very first year that you started. You were just doing it for your kids, and
Yeah,
that was it.
pretty much. Yeah, we had at the time we also had some neighbor kids downstairs, so they had like 5 kids downstairs, and I had 2, and we had another one upstairs. We had a bunch of kids, so it started out with actually little like dollar store tombstones that I would set up, and a little bit of spider webbing, and then it's just grown. I met a Facebook group called Chicago Haunt Builders and joined them. They're a private group, 2,000 members strong. They're wonderful people. And from there, my knowledge just grew of how to make the stuff myself, how to make my own tombstones, how to make, last year we redid our clowns, and we built a big house for a clown, and it's just learning how to make that, learning how to make animatronics. And you can just put your own spin on things. And it's been fun growing with the haunt. and growing with the community. They look forward to what's next and how do you do this, and showing it all off to them.
How much money do you spend on your displays? Let's say like the first year versus the most current year that you had it.
Oh, we don't talk about that. Like I said, we try and keep it to a minimum. There are certain things that we do have to buy every year, like corn stalks. We normally drive out to the far suburbs, where we can either cut our own for free or, get them from stands that are cheaper. So we try, and making our own things keeps the price down. Um, as far, if you include the party that we throw, I mean, like I said, we do hot dogs, we do chili. I think last year we went through 400 hot dogs, 400 bags of chips. How much do we spend? Probably too much. I try and only get one big new thing a year.
Mm. Mhm.
One large item a year I try and get. Home Depot actually just came out with their new Halloween line. So as you know, you've seen Gladys, my 12-foot skeleton that's in the pumpkin patch. She's from Home Depot. It's their line of giants. So they recently came out with one called Predator of the Night, which I am trying to get. He would be my new big buy. And even though I may not be even having the display this year, it has not stopped me from continuing to build and continuing to add.
Mhm. Continuing to plan it too.
Yes, yes, it's a piece of me. It's that time of year, and it's yeah, autopilot.
Do you decorate and display for any other seasons?
Nope, just Halloween.
Mhm.
People ask me that all the time, and my kind of response is I have no place to store it. I
Mhm.
couldn't possibly do anything else with the amount of Halloween stuff I have.
So your all your large items, you just keep them and then bring them out for every year. So all your large items are on display, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, we display everything that we have.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So that's why it's growing larger then, because of you're bringing in all that has that you've displayed before and adding something new.
Yes, 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 yes. It's not necessarily making it longer or bigger. It's just filling in more gaps, more empty space, making it more compact, not necessarily larger.
Mhm.
The footprint would be the same. There would just be more in the footprint.
Mhm. Okay. And you do try to follow a theme every year, right?
Well, we do different sections. So we have seven different sections now, I believe. So we have our spiders, voodoo, the
Mhm.
back alley circus, the haunted pumpkin patch, the butcher shop, the dolls, and our cemetery. So we keep those. But on Halloween, my whole family dresses up. So normally we would all stick to like the same theme. We'd all be in clowns, or when we started the haunted pumpkin patch, I believe it was 2 years ago, was the first year that we did that, when we all dressed up like scarecrows.
Hmm. You mean you all dressed up and at the party, your family
Yes.
dressed up as scarecrows at the party. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. 2 years ago at the Halloween party. Yes. Mhm.
Mhm. What has been your favorite of all these of your big items and your the different sections?
Oh gosh. We went to a convention called Midwest Haunters Convention that a couple of years ago moved to the Rosemont Convention Center. There is a company called Distortions Unlimited, and they added this prop called Jack Widow, and he is part pumpkin and part Black Widow spider.
Mm.
So that one was a favorite that went into the haunted pumpkin patch. I
Mhm.
got that the year after I got the tall skeleton. So that was kind of her pet,
Mhm.
so that
Oh,
was Gladys's pet that we added, and that one was really nice to add. And my spider section last year got a little bigger with a giant spider, another giant spider, and I started to learn more about creating my spider webbing and made that a little bit more elaborate last year. So that was really, really something to look at, I thought.
did you
It's
look at any any spider videos to give you inspiration about how to arrange your spider sections?
No, no, we didn't. But we see a lot of haunters stuff. My husband's like, oh, but we could do it from the roof going up and down, and we can, we're always thinking of ways to add and ways to make it better and more interesting.
What was your favorite comment from a visitor uh, last year?
Oh gosh,
His story, the little kid's story.
which ones?
The little boy who drew all the pictures.
Oh, Miles. Yes, he did a little story, a school project about Dead on Damon, and that was probably one of my favorite, just telling his whole class and everybody about everything that was out here and Halloween, and him getting to see everything and interact with it was definitely my favorite. And we had a boy last year, Isaiah, who came every single night. He made his parents come every night, and
Mm.
that just melted my heart.
And did any local teachers? So local teachers did use that endatement for school projects, or was it just the kids that went back and then uh,
It was just the
went
single
up?
kid that went back. Yeah, he wanted to do his project, his school project on us. So that
Mhm.
was really heartwarming. It was really nice to see.
Mhm. Well, Jessica, I wish you luck, and we'll touch base again about the see what happens.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you, Jessica.
I
Good
will
luck to
keep you
you.
updated.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a great one. Thank you. Thank you for being here on WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. Oh, and let me also include the email of any listeners that want to email Jessica for more information or write an email in support of that endatement. I will give you that email in a second. The email is deadondamenavenue@gmail.com. DEADONDAMENAVE@gmail.com. Thank you.